Rio de Janeiro, a city that moves to a natural rhythm. Big in fantasy, big in beauty, and with a huge love of life. But there's a side to life here that dazzles even the locals. Get with the beat on Rio's wild side. Rio de Janeiro, the home of sun, sea, and samba. It's the 23rd most populated city in the world, home to a thick brew of 8 million people. The locals, or cariocas, are renowned for their love of life. Despite its reputation as a party mecca, Rio has never forsaken its wild heritage. From the concrete tangle of Copacabana, it takes just 15 minutes to reach the tropical jungle that surrounds the city. This close connection with nature makes Rio unique, a 21st century metropolis where encounters with wild animals feature in everyday life. Ipanema, in the southeastern corner of Rio, is famous for its beautiful girls. But another beach lover rarely flaunts its assets so openly during the day. While the gulls cool off in the sea, most of the ghost crabs stay in their sandy burrows, safe from the heat of the sun. They prefer to wait for nightfall. Those that do venture out can spot danger from afar, thanks to eyes on stalks and 360-degree vision. The crab's formidable mouthparts process the washed-up carrion on which it feeds. The crabs help keep the beach clean, and people leave them alone. In this way, city life and nature coexist in harmony. Peace and quiet won't stand a chance in central Rio, where plans are already underway for the world's biggest street party held just before Easter. Carnival is just 4 months away. The São Clemente Samba School faces a daunting task if it's to stand any chance of winning an award at next year's Carnival. A huge storeroom houses their regalia. São Clemente is one of 20 samba dance schools competing for the prestigious prize of Best Float. The new design is a closely guarded secret. But the warehouse also holds a secret that even the dancers don't know about. It won't reveal itself until the last workers have finally gone home. Then the props become a makeshift jungle, perfect for a creature usually found in trees. A black-eared opossum. Blind in one eye, she seeks solitude in the dark corners of the storeroom. Opossums can adapt quickly to new circumstances. They are now among the most common wild animals encountered in downtown Rio. Their success lies in their ability to make do. This female has built a nest of fabric and straw, tucked into a corner of a giant fiberglass puppet. Her challenge now is to vacate the nest before the dance students find and evict her. Some of Rio's other wild visitors make the cariocas run a mile. especially those who have moved in just a little too close for comfort. On a hot day, the locals can't resist the temptation of a dip in a pool. And that's not just the human locals. Every summer, confused caiman end up far from their usual stomping grounds in the lagoons and in people's swimming pools, drawn by the cool water, and perhaps the opportunity to cause a splash. In wild Rio, there's always something unexpected lurking. The water is cool, the reception cooler still. No caimans have ever attacked anyone, though. On the west side of the city, Sugarloaf Mountain rises 400 meters above the coast. From the top, Rio looks like the most dazzling city in the world, the jewel in Brazil's crown. Visitors from far and wide visit Sugarloaf Mountain. Like the tourists, the common marmosets are outsiders. They come originally from the forests in northeastern Brazil. Unlike the tourists, though, they decided to stay. When the first marmosets were introduced to the area 100 years ago, they found that life in Rio suited them. Today, marmosets live in large numbers all over the city, foraging for food in small family groups of about 10 animals. They enjoy a fruit diet, but always relish a serving of protein. This one has caught a large and juicy locust. Marmosets will even try to snatch flying insects from mid-air, with varying degrees of success. The more food is available, the less time the marmosets need to spend looking for it, and the more spare time they have for something even more delicious: grooming. It strengthens social bonds and diffuses tensions between individuals and within the group. Only the dominant male and female reproduce and have a family, but most of the other adults are related in some way, and they all help out with the infants, sometimes even carrying the babies around, and each adult keeps an eye on the younger members. The proximity of the city means that marmosets are rarely short of food. As their population increases, competition for territory increases. When there's a boundary dispute, social tensions can bubble up and boil over. But it's mainly for show. And after a few minutes, the fight ends as suddenly as it began. Back at the Samba school, the dance students eagerly await an important announcement: the design of their float. Each year, the organisers look for a new theme. Inspiration comes easy in a place surrounded by so much natural flair. The colours of the rainforest are the palette, and animals of the jungle always feature heavily in the designs. After months of planning, the Carnivalesco, or creative director, reveals this year's theme: Wild Rio. He has based the float's colour scheme on the vivid yellow and crimson feathers of macaws and toucans. It's not surprising that the spirit of the wild runs in the veins of Rio's people, when just a stone's throw away lies the stunning wilderness of the Tehuca National Park. Once, a vast jungle covered all of Rio and far beyond. Tehuca is all that remains of that, which makes it one of the richest and most important wild habitats on the planet. Thousands of wild species find refuge here, probably more. Blue mannequin birds live alongside king snakes and day geckos, and even a few rarer animals remain, like the elusive ocelot. At every level, the forest vibrates with activity. Social ants fan out to find food, working together to form a bridge over any obstacle in their way. Danger may lurk in every shadow. A metre-long king snake hunts mainly at night, lying up during the day in the cool, damp leaf litter. The small mammals it likes eating, such as squirrels, are hard to catch in daylight. As the squirrel feeds, the crumbs it drops onto the forest floor are picked up by guans, large turkey-like birds unique to South America. The king snake would never bother attacking a guan, but even so, most animals react to the sight of a snake in the same way. They get out of the way. The first rays of a hot December sun bring the toucans out from hiding. This is peak breeding season, and a pair of channel-billed toucans have chosen a narrow cavity high in the canopy as a nest. For the next 4 weeks, the chicks won't see the light of day. They'll depend entirely on their parents. Palm fruits make up the bulk of the diet, but insects and even small birds and mammals add variety. The narrow entrance to their high-rise fortress offers some protection from snakes and monkeys that might raid the nest. In the forest, predators come in all shapes and sizes, and from all directions, so the parents have to stay on the alert. Their neighbours, a troop of brown capuchin monkeys, have an appointment to keep. It's 7 a.m. Time for them to invite themselves to breakfast. This group is up to its usual monkey business. Elsewhere in Brazil, people frequently hunt capuchins for food. But here in Rio, the tables have turned. Even on the 10th floor of a modern apartment block, there's no escaping your wild neighbours. Capuchins are South America's most intelligent monkeys, as anyone who meets them soon finds out. These smart primates don't waste too much time looking for food in the forest. Why bother when they can get it, quite literally, on a plate? but the service seems a bit slow today. Smart Capuchins regularly outwit their human neighbors. The raw egg adds precious protein to a normally fruit-only menu. Monkey burglars have become part of daily routine. Most people in Rio enjoy sharing their lives with their mischievous wild cousins. Young Capuchins are not choosy and will snatch whatever food they can lay their nimble hands on. It's never this easy in the jungle. Ever the bold opportunists, Capuchins even have their own Mile High Club. The females come into heat every 18 days or so, giving birth to a single baby each year. Capuchins are polygamous and they mate with various troop members. Only the dominant males enjoy mating privileges, so lower-ranking males have to act sneaky if they're to stand a chance. With both hunger and sexual needs satisfied, the troop makes its way back into the forest. At 3,200 hectares, the Tijuca forest is the largest urban jungle on Earth. Yet, only 150 years ago, large coffee plantations covered most of what is now a national park. Only derelict remains and crumbling buildings betray its history. These ruins represent a bygone colonial era when most of the forest was cut for timber. As far back as the 1860s, the Portuguese settlers began to restore the landscape and planted nearly 100,000 trees in one of the world's first conservation efforts. Today, the Tijuca forest contains some of the greatest diversity of plants and animals in the world. The statue of Christ the Redeemer embraces all of Rio's inhabitants. In the forest just behind the tower blocks, one citizen takes life slower than most. Three-toed sloth, the slowest mammal in the forest. It travels at a mere 3 meters per minute. This slothful lifestyle results from its highly specialized diet of leaves, from which it can just about extract enough nutrition to live, but it can't afford to waste any precious energy. But slow and steady wins the race. Sloths are the most successful large mammals in the whole of Central and tropical South America. On the other side of the city, a rare giant has put in a rare appearance in the swamps. The capybara is the largest rodent in the world, like a massive sheep-sized guinea pig. On the tidal flats nearby, an army performs its daily chores, picking over the sand in search of detritus, which is quickly devoured. Fiddler crabs have greatly enlarged right claws. The crabs themselves are tiny, and the males use their 3-centimetre long claws to defend their territories and entice a mate, deliberately attracting attention. Others are quick to take advantage. Sharp-eyed egrets patrol the marshes, but the crabs have superb vision and never stray far from a bolt hole. Like the human citizens, the animals follow daily routines. As the tide flows in, the creatures retire. At the São Clemente Samba School, there's no time to rest. There are less than 3 months to go until the big competition, when judges will pick the best carnival float from the 20 competing schools across Rio. The carnival tradition marks the start of Lent, but it has ancient pre-Christian roots. Samba schools, which are key community groups, first took part in the Rio Carnival in the 1920s. The São Clemente dancers rehearse every day. The more dancers, the more impressive the performance. But blue mannequin dancer birds perform the best show of all. The male dancer birds display their dazzling plumes to their comparatively dowdy audience of green females. These charismatic birds are rare and endemic to the region. Their energetic dance routines go on for weeks during the mating season. Every year, they use the same spots, called leks, to stage their spectacular group displays. These 3 males give their very best, each taking it in turn to shine. But this competition is rigged. A well-established hierarchy already exists, and the oldest male always steals the show. At the finale, the group strikes a pose, the champion flapping in victory. After his gracious acceptance display, the alpha male accepts his prize, a chance to pass his flamboyant genes on to the next generation of dancers. Rio's dance beat originated in the city's north side. Black Brazilians from Bahia moved to the impoverished favelas after the abolition of slavery in 1888, bringing samba with them. Life here is even closer to the wild side. This red-tailed boa constrictor has taken up residence in the favela for one reason: food. A healthy rodent population means that even a big snake is sure to find plenty to eat. The boa has well-developed senses to detect its prey. Its tongue can taste even the weakest aroma. Sensitive pores in its upper lip are nature's heat-seeking missile technology. A kill is just about guaranteed. Boas kill by squeezing prey until it can no longer breathe. Like all snakes, they swallow it whole and head first. Stretchy ligaments in the jaws mean the boa can swallow animals much wider than its own mouth. Strong acids in the snake's stomach will help digest the mouse. Sated, the boa now searches for a quiet spot to digest its meal. But in Rio, quiet spots are hard to find. Cramped conditions force people and animals to share space, and a small child is potentially easy prey. A boa constrictor is an unusual goalkeeper, but here in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, where city and jungle overlap, the Brazilian children enjoy close encounters with all sorts of wild animals. The children know that boas haven't got any venom, but a boa's powerful jaws could deliver a painful bite, so the snake needs careful handling. The children welcome the opportunity to get to know their wild neighbours better. The boa is the largest snake in Rio, and by a top age of 25 years, it can reach more than 2 meters in length. It hasn't harmed anyone, and so the dad leads a short expedition to release it. They take the snake to the high forest that backs onto the houses, which is where it probably came from in the first place. Another close encounter on Rio's wild border, where city meets jungle. Rio has a typical tropical climate. During the hot, wet summers, the temperature can soar to 40 degrees centigrade. At this time of year, rainfall can be as high as 900 millimeters a month. After months of drought, the dense vegetation soaks fresh rainwater up like a sponge, building up a living water store. In this way, the forest is a life support system for the city. It prevents floods in summer and droughts in winter. Without the protection of the trees, huge areas of Rio would have been washed away long ago. With the arrival of water, life in the forest flourishes. Torrent frogs live near fast-flowing streams. Suction pads on their toes help them stick, quite literally, to the slippery rocks. The constant mist in the splash zone around the waterfalls creates a humid microclimate where the frogs can stay active even on the hottest days of summer. To make themselves heard over the roar of water, the frogs have developed a high-pitched call, which has become a characteristic sound of the Rio rainforest. The summer ushers in a very special time for the young toucan family. A fledgling has ventured out of the nest. He takes his first look at his new world. He seems to lack the confidence to fly, and sits tight, watched by his two brothers, still safely within their well-guarded nursery. The chicks will continue to rely on Mum and Dad for a few more weeks, but gradually they will start to sample a range of foods and become increasingly independent. Eventually, the young toucan summons up enough courage to put his little wings to the test. Other toucans are also on the move. At the São Clemente Samba School, the hundreds of carnival puppets need a few finishing touches. Everybody works long hours to meet the February deadline in the hope that their float will dazzle the judges. Lined up against the wall, the giant macaws await their makeover. International news teams will broadcast Carnival live all around the world. Those working behind the scenes at the São Clemente Samba School know that millions of viewers will see their artwork. In a quiet corner of the storeroom, the opossum prefers to keep her own momentous news to herself. After a pregnancy of just 2 weeks, she's given birth to 3 tiny babies, each no more than a centimetre long. Like other marsupials, baby opossums start life in their mother's pouch. The whole litter weighs less than a gram. They will cling to their mother's nipples for the next few weeks. The opossum's strange maternity ward falls silent. In the jungle, though, nature's cannonballs shatter the peace. A ripe jackfruit crashing to the ground can mean only one thing: ring-tailed coatis are on the prowl. Jackfruit trees originally came to Brazil from India with the slave trade. Coatis, close relatives of the raccoon, love them. Male coatis are mostly solitary, but females and their young form lively bands of 20 or more. With their sturdy claws for climbing, coatis feel just as much at home in the trees as on the ground. Ripe jackfruits burst with sticky, sweet latex, which must taste more appetizing than it looks. Each football-sized fruit can weigh as much as 27 kilos, and even the coati's sharp claws can't break through the thick, tough skin, so the coati lets gravity do the hard work. Its snout is dense with sensory receptors, and the coati's unerring sense of smell leads it straight to the dining table. In the trees, the coatis use their muscular tails as an extra limb. On the ground, the tails turn into conspicuous banners, carried high to help them see each other and stick together, especially when they've got their heads down during a jackfruit snack attack. With a ready supply of food, the coati groups in the Chahuca National Park have become unusually large, with some bands consisting of up to 40 animals. Plenty of choice then for a coati eater. Without the element of surprise, the ocelot won't try to attack. Nonetheless, the coatis won't take any chances and keep their distance. Sadly, the fur trade and other human pressures have virtually eliminated this beautiful cat from the forests of Rio. For now, this one clings to survival, though it looks like it will go hungry this time. With the danger gone, the coatis settle down for a well-earned snooze. Night falls over the vast lagoons that lie to the south of the national park. Under the cover of darkness, prehistoric eyes glow amid the taillights on the highway. The creature that lurks in the downtown lagoons evolved long before Rio existed, long before humans ever walked on Earth. Broad-snouted caiman, leftovers from the dinosaur era, but their ancient dynasty faces an uncertain future. Today, caiman are highly endangered in Rio, but a few survivors remain, and, protected by law, some even manage to raise young. After 70 days, the eggs begin to hatch, watched over by the very protective mother. The 15-centimetre long baby yelps to its siblings, coaxing them also to hatch. It's likely that this synchronization ensures that the whole clutch emerges at the same time. After making sure they all hatch, the mother will then see her babies safely to the water's edge, where she will watch over them for up to 1 year. They face a dangerous future, living so close to the urban jungle. While Rio sleeps, other curious creatures begin to stir. Nestling inside holes in the trees along the lagoon, fishing bats wake and prepare to hunt for breakfast. They come equipped with huge claws, ideal for grasping slippery fish. Also known as greater bulldog bat, fishing bats are big, with a body length of up to 13 centimeters and weighing in at nearly 90 grams. Like all bats, they hunt by echolocation. This involves generating rapid ultrasonic squeaks that bounce back off every object. By interpreting the echoes, the bats can decipher the shape, size, and movements of their prey with pinpoint accuracy. But whereas most bats track flying insects, the fishing bat heads straight for the water. After detecting a ripple, the bat zooms in and drags its claws across the surface. This is fishing by feel. Only one attempt in 10 ends in success. Every night, the bat returns to the same perch to eat. Hanging high above the Lagoa Highway, it can feed in safety. The bat won't linger here. The city is already waking. In a few hours, Rio will go wild. For tomorrow, Carnival begins. Dawn creeps over Rio de Janeiro's Sugarloaf Mountain. As the warm and languid night draws to a close, something stirs in the heart of the city. In the warehouse used by the São Clemente Samba School, everything is now ready for Carnival. And the scrawny young opossums feel ready for some action of their own. For the past 2 months, they have seen nothing but the inside of their mother's pouch. Now, intensely curious, they explore everything and everywhere. Out in the jungle, predators could easily snap them up. But these lucky youngsters have a safe Carnival warehouse for a playground. Watching closely, Mum lets them test out their newly acquired climbing skills and practice their steps. The 3 siblings will stay together for another few weeks until they have acquired the hunting skills they need to make a go of life on their own. Opossums in the city occupy a similar niche to the common rat, and these youngsters will learn how to hunt for insects and fruits, as well as scavenge for human leftovers. At this age, they do look more like common rats and the cute marsupials they will grow into. But unlike rats, opossums don't spread disease from the sewers and are a welcome addition to Rio's downtown neighborhood. With climbing practice done, it's time for their first night out on the roof tiles. Mum leads the way. The opossums have come of age just in time to see the biggest spectacle of the year. It's carnival time. The streets of Rio go chicka chicka boom as the rhythm hots up. Millions of people from all over the world flock to Rio for Carnival. For 5 heady days and nights, everyone forgets their troubles to live a fantasy where the partying knows no limits, and the whole of Rio is gripped by the samba beat.
Samba aí que eu quero ver, Deus no quarto voar. Lua faz o sol nascer, feito no Tupinambá. Entro nessa multidão, a São Clemente conquistou seu coração. Mas índio lutador, guerreiro pela própria natureza, defendeu todo o seu tesouro, salvou sua terra da ganância portuguesa. Fez troca-troca gostoso, botou o colar no pescoço, olhou pro espelho e sorriu. Índio vaidoso, fingiu que não viu, e os franceses estão levando pau Brasil. Capoeira dos escravos, jogada com muita fé, do gingado das mucamas, sinto o aroma do café, tá queimado o homem branco, produzia o carvão.
The big moment has finally arrived for the São Clemente Samba School. For the first time, they reveal their dazzling Wild Rio Carnival designs to an international audience of millions. Will their months of hard work pay off? The dancers give their best, and the judges award the São Clemente Samba School one of the highest marks. The party celebrates life and pays homage to Rio's wild roots and natural neighbours. Carnival, samba, and the colours of the rainforest intermingle to form the lifeblood of this vibrant city. The opening of Carnival is the wildest night of the year. But close encounters of the wild kind happen every single day in Wild Rio.